Well, let's call the meeting to order then. And Amanda, if you would take the roll call, please.
Yes, absolutely. And so just a reminder for everyone, if you could state your full name and then where you are participating from this afternoon. Jim Baldwin. Sean Beal.
Sean Beal from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Mayor Bliss.
Rosalind Bliss here in the city of Grand Rapids.
Great. Eliana, I don't believe is able to join us today. Miss Deering.
Deidre Deering, participating remotely from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Great. Ms. Dunn.
Okay, I'm Dunn, participating remotely from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Jane Geetson.
Jane Geetson, participating remotely from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Carl Kelly. Mark Roy.
This is Mark Royce, participating remotely from Grand Rapids.
Great. Jim Talon.
Jim Talon, participating remotely from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Great. And Mr. Wynn. Not seeing him on here. But we do have quorum.
All right, thank you, Amanda. Appreciate that. So the first item of business is to approve the minutes from April 14, and they were sent out in your packet. I would look for a motion on the minutes, please.
Move approval. This is KM.
This is Rosalind. I support.
Thank you both. Are there any questions or clarifications? Then I will ask for any that, so we will assume that you're in favor of the minutes unless you dissent. So I'll ask, are there any dissenting votes for the approval of the minutes from April 14th? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Thank you all. The next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the financials from the end of the month of May 2021. And do we have, Tim, do we have someone to present those?
Yeah, I believe Trisha is on. Trisha, are you there?
I am.
Okay, I couldn't see on my screen.
Not a problem. Good afternoon, everyone. Before you is your financial statements as of May 31st, 2021. So we're almost all the way through this fiscal year. Right now, the authority is sitting around 36% of expenditures having been spent this year. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take those, do some research if needed. Otherwise, looking for approval of Statement C, which is your schedule of expenditures.
This is Talon. I'll move approval of Statement C.
This is KM. I will second that motion.
Thank you both. Are there any questions or clarifications? Then I would ask, we will assume that the financials are approved unless we have dissenting votes. So I'll ask now, is there any dissenting votes on the approval of the financials from May 31, 2021? Hearing none, the financials are approved. Thank you. All right. Next up is the fiscal year 2022 budget adoption. And we've seen this before, right, Tim?
That's right. That's right.
Remind us where we're at in the process, please.
Yeah, so this is the final step in our budget approval process. I think most of you are familiar with it by now, but just a quick reminder. So back in April, you were presented with a proposed fiscal year 22 budget, recommended it to the City Commission, went to City Commission along with the DDA budget on May 11th and was approved unanimously. So now it comes back to you for official adoption for the new fiscal year beginning July 1. No changes were made, so everything that was in the budget that you saw still remains there.
All right, thank you. So I know we've seen it before. I do want to give a chance for questions, but I would ask for a motion and support to adopt the budget as we had approved it previously and as the City Commission has approved it. Do I have a motion and support?
This is Jane. I will move support for the budget.
Thank you, Jane.
This is KM. I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Like Tim said, we've seen this already. It's working its way through the process, and this is our final steps, but I wanted to give an opportunity if there were any questions. All right, then we'll vote on the approval, the adoption of the fiscal year 2022 budget. And again, if there are any dissenting votes, please speak now. Hearing none, the budget as presented and approved through the process is adopted. Thank you. Right. We're moving fast, Tim. I told you. The next item is the memo of understanding with the dash for the shuttle services throughout the city and specifically through Monroe North. So
That's
Tim,
right.
are you going to take this one?
Yeah, I'll do this one as well.
Thank you.
Again, we're moving into fiscal year 22, looking to extend the existing MOU that is in place between the TIFA, the city, and the DDA for continued service of the Dash. What we're proposing again for this coming year is a 1-year extension to continue the service to see how kind of uptake begins as we're reopening and reigniting the neighborhood. So what's in front of you and what we're seeking for your approval on is the TIFA share of this agreement. As we identified in the memo, no change from the prior 2 fiscal years. So the annual contribution is just over $80,000. Proposed for fiscal year 22, both the city and DDA share remain the same as well, and they have approved their contributions previously. This was in the FY22 budget that you just approved, so that was considered as part of the budget recommendation. And as I mentioned, we'll continue to monitor the use of the service. We have seen a pretty good increase as things have started to reopen, particularly around the World of Winter festivals and activities. So we do expect as the neighborhood and city start to get back to a little bit of normal, that we'll start to see the service well used again. So that's the proposal in front of you, seeking your recommendation for the TIFA share of that MOU, and happy to take any questions.
Hey, Tim, this is Deidre. I do have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Deidre.
Okay, so I noticed on one of the attachments that was sent along in the packet that the hours had been changed. They were changed, it looks like, in May of 2020 and then again in May of 2021. And it looks like the hours were reduced just a little bit Monday through Friday, but then no weekend service. And I'm wondering, are there any plans as, you know, downtown starts to open up again? Do you think that those hours may increase to include the weekend again?
I think yes, that's certainly something we'll look at with our partners. That change was made just in May prior to a lot of the more recent announcements. The expectation when that change was announced was that it would be through the summer, through August. But I think with the recent announcements and with the expectation that things are getting open, and also just anecdotally being in the neighborhood and seeing the amount of people that are back, that's something we'll certainly continue to look at. And if needed, we didn't have Sunday service previously, but certainly looking at Saturday service again as things happen, that's something we could add.
Okay, thanks.
Good question, Deidre. Thank you.
This is
That's
Jim
right.
with a question.
Go ahead.
I don't know if we've ever calculated this, but I would be just a little bit curious to know if we can figure out what the TIFA's contribution per ride is. If we had the number of riders in a year and divide that into the 80-some thousand, what would that be? Just out of curiosity. Don't have to have it right now, but would be something of interest if that could be sent to us later.
So
great question. And yes,
Interesting metric to request, Jim. I understand the why behind it. Yeah, it would be I would be interested to know too what it was pre-COVID when it was really, being much more utilized.
Yeah, right. I agree.
But yeah,
And maybe that could be calculated too
Yep.
over the past couple of years.
We have historical data on ridership, so we could go back a few years just to give you a sense.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yep.
So I would look for, I would ask the group if we have a motion to support this MOU for the fiscal year 2022 and support.
This is Deidre. I'll make a motion to approve the MOU. Extending the dash service through June 30, 2022.
This is KM. I will support that motion.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board? All right, then I'll ask if there are any dissenting votes to the motion in support to move forward with this MOU. Hearing none, the motion is passed. Thank you. All right, the next item is the public space activation, and I think is Kimberly here to share that information?
I sure am.
Great.
Good afternoon, everybody. We've got quite a bit of public art installations coming in the next few months downtown Grand Rapids, but I want to specifically kind of focus on installations that are happening in the Monroe North area for you all. Amanda, do you have the prezo? Oh, perfect. Okay, so first one, just a quick go over, was this past weekend we had our grand opening finally for the skate park, and we were able to have a scooter quad, which is roller skates, skateboard, and BMX competition. So these are just a couple photos, and I think I can take control over too. Just a couple quick photos of some of our winners from the competition. It was a really fun event this past weekend. We got kind of rained out early in the morning, but then it turned out to be a beautiful day and everyone was still able to participate. So we had about 70 registered competitors, and then we had about 500 attendees throughout the day. So which was really great to see that happen downtown. And coming soon too as well, we offer the Activate This Place grant, placemaking grant installations. So one that was awarded, Steve Friedsma applied on behalf of Brian Whitfield at the new church up in Monroe North for their new location at 1020. So he will begin, excuse me, sorry, my dog is in the background. He will begin painting here soon. They're going to the AAC today, actually, for final approvals with everything. So that's an exciting new development that's happening over there, and adding some public art is always nice to liven up the space as well. Next, we have Kevin Wolfram, who applied just recently, and this is a mural that's proposed to go on 800 Ottawa Avenue. And then next, we're teaming up with Lions and Rabbits and Elgrow to offer educational storm drain murals throughout the downtown area. So these are concept renderings that are also going to the Arts Advisory Council this afternoon for approval. And there's about 20 storm drains that will be done throughout the downtown for this installation that we're able to help fund. Next, Melvin is managing, along with Lions and Rabbits as well, the painting of all of the barricades downtown. We've got quite a lot of barricades to paint throughout the whole entire downtown at all of the social zones. So these are just some of the concepts that are going on on the barricades, and artists have been paired with restaurants to be able to collaborate on the art installation. So some will be able to get started here soon, and others I think are just a tad delayed, but lots of public art, and we're going to be able to do walking tours, different series to be able to go see all of the new artwork. So it's pretty fun. And next, we are also funding the After Dark event, and they're going to be putting up, our sponsorship is helping to fund 6 different murals in the Monroe North area, as well as the interactive sidewalk mural that's going to be kind of like a game of life after the board game that was created last year. So that's just another installation that will be able to be created, and they're really focusing on activating the canal park. So they're going to kind of have interactive business installations as you see shown in the photo there. So fun way to have some vendors and other activation in that space that you wouldn't normally see over there. And then next is the Women's Way Alley over at behind Auto Fix It and Garage Bar. The mural is complete, and we were able to put up all the plaques for all of the women just recently, in the last couple weeks. So now we're starting working on phase 2 of this alley. Last year, you all provided funding for the pavement of the alley, which all the businesses are extremely grateful for. And that was a first lift for next phase of installation. So our team coming July 1, we're going to be working with DeVries Landscape to rip out all of the really nasty weeds and debris that's over in that area, and then we'll be able to add greenery and seating all along that alleyway. And then we'll be able to go in later and add additional lighting and infrastructure. So we're continuing to update that alley, and this gives places like Garage Bar additional areas for seating and activation when they're doing events and programming. So we're excited for that. And another one that we're working on right now is with Artists Creating Together, ACT, who's in the Monroe North area as well. We're working on a series of murals that's going to be going in Canal Park on the building structure that you see kind of closest to the water building. One of them is owned by the city's electrical department, and then the other one, or engineering department, and then the other one is owned by the parks department. So we're able to do murals all around that side, and painting of the garage doors as well that kind of need a little uplift. So we'll be doing that in collaboration with the parks department and ACT. So they're creating concepts right now, and I'll be able to give you kind of an update on that in the future. And other than that, that's kind of what's going on in Monroe North. One last thing to note is we're funding kayaking tours specifically for people within our community, people of color. We're really focusing on with Friends of Grand Rapids Parks to provide kayaking and educational series down the river throughout this summer series. So that's another one of those. Start at Riverside, and then they will end at Canal Park. And we're working as a collaboration with City Built Brewery to be able to do picnics afterwards. So that's all that's happening in activation for the Monroe North area. And happy to answer any questions you may have about any of the installations. Okay, great.
Thanks, Kimberly. That's great stuff. It's always fun to see the activities going on in the area. I am in the office just a little bit, but there's always someone in the skate park when I'm in. So it's fun to see it getting used. Hey, Jane, you've got your hand up. What's your question?
Yeah, it's not a question, just a comment. Thank you for all you do. I love the energy, sort of like in spite of all the gray clouds that have been with us for 18 months, you keep it going. And the other question I have is, how are we advertising these kayak opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, Friends of Grand Rapids Parks is doing the outreach specifically for like groups that are in the Garfield Park neighborhood. Link, they're teaming up with Choose Outdoors, or the Latinos Outdoors as well. So it's kind of an invite only as of right now, because they want to be specifically targeted to our to the minorities within the community that haven't had this opportunity. So that's the real focus for this year. And then we're hoping to expand this. And one exciting thing that we're working on right now at DJRI, our goal 5 is and goal 1 are breaking off into a subcommittee for river activations specifically. And this is one of the things that they wanted to see happen was kayaking. So this was a quick check that Friends was able to help us out on and really focus on areas that and connecting with people that we really wanted to. But this group, along with members of the city's equity and inclusion office, they're going to be teaming up with us to help figure out what kind of programming we want to do along the river corridor. And a lot of this is going to happen in Monroe North. So we just met for our very first time last week, and we'll be meeting monthly. And everyone's really excited about taking a look at what kind of activation opportunities are going to be happening along the river corridor yet. And last week, also the DDA funded sponsorship for the World Water Festival, which is an exciting new event happening in Monroe North as well, teaming up with the Grand Rapids Asian Pacific Festival, and they're going to be hosting dragon boat races down the river corridor as well. So it's exciting for all the activation that's coming, but Jane, we're definitely going to be expanding that program and hope to launch a larger outreach in the future.
Oh, I'm excited about the dragon boats.
Yeah, me too.
And Jane, I echo, it's great to see the enthusiasm and the excitement that these events create. So thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah, thank you. And if you guys haven't checked out the Friday night concerts over at City Built, definitely go do that. We're helping to fund that initiative as well, and it's been a big hit. So hopefully you can go over there and grab a beer and listen to some live music for the first time in quite a bit of time.
That's great. All right, thank you again. Tim, I think you're up next, right, with the President and CEO's report?
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And maybe just one quick add-on to what Kim just mentioned. Just wanted to highlight again that at your last meeting in April, you helped approve a portion of a scope of work for engagement around the river. And so as we're having those discussions, we'll certainly be bringing these activation opportunities to the community. And so that's part of the broader communication strategy that's also going on. And hopefully we'll come up with some new ideas during those discussions too. Just in terms of my report, just a few other things I wanted to highlight. As Kim touched on, the big focus of ours right now is just activation and events and getting people out. The activities in Monroe North on the weekend, specifically at City Built and their Welcome Center, have been tremendous. There's been a tremendous community response, and just the number of people that are downtown is very encouraging to see. So we'll continue to work on that. On the event category, just wanted to highlight two other things. One, I'm sure everyone's aware, but just wanted to reiterate that Art Prize, of course, has made their announcement to be back. So September 16th to October 3rd. DDA and City have both approved their participation. I know the artist and venue sign up is still ongoing, but we are all very excited to see that come back. Also, and thinking a little farther out, because it's still only the end of June and we don't want to think about winter too much, but we did just release our request for proposals for winter art installations. So looking at World of Winter for 2022, we expect to get a good response on that. We've got a good group sitting around the table to review proposals. So that is going on. Kim and Megan on our team are obviously helping to lead that. So we'll continue to report out as more is known. And then switching gears to some project updates in your neighborhood up in Monroe North. So I think everyone knows by now that the Spectrum demolition of Gill has started and is moving quickly, which is great to see. Some work that we're doing in conjunction with that, we put out a request for proposals for what we're calling a connection plan. But that's really looking at the improved and enhanced connections from the river, Monroe North, up to Belknap. And GVSU up there to make sure that as the neighborhood grows, that we're thinking about ways to get people down to the neighborhood as well as to the river. So that is currently posted. Responses are due July 12. We're working with a really good stakeholder group, business association, neighborhood association, GVSU, Spectrum, as well as the city. So we'll be sure to keep you posted on that. But work is continuing. And then just wanted to flag, because I know it's been a discussion that has been at this table for a number of years, but the Coldbrook roundabout there, where Monroe and Coldbrook kind of converge, is also back being redesigned and being looked at. And as soon as some plans are at a point where we can share them, we'll be happy to bring those back so you can take a look at them, because I know it's something that we've all looked at for a number of years. Lastly, probably more on the administrative side and thinking about communications, did just want to highlight Melvin and Marion on our team have put together a new newsletter that we call Doing Business Downtown. Goes out every week, typically on Sunday. If you haven't seen it, be happy to share it with you, but it's got a lot of great information, highlights road closures, but also events and things that are going to be of interest for business owners and operators. So it's been a good resource, pretty well received to start. So just wanted to highlight that. I think those are the main things I wanted to touch on, but as always, happy to take any questions or hear any comments.
Tim, this is Jane. Are you getting any sense of business return plans at all?
We are, and in fact, in that last newsletter, we kind of highlighted, we had a survey that was out. What we're hearing is that, I think initially a lot of people were starting to look at post 4th of July for a return. I'm going to pull the number here right now, but I believe it was 64%. Actually closer to 70% now are saying within this month, they'll be back. So I think plans have been accelerated for most.
Great.
Tim, I had a question. The roundabout at Coldbrook, it's been a while since we've talked about it, but is that something on the city engineering's docket that they're looking to improve now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll, I think with the Spectrum planning that maybe got accelerated a little bit. I think initially plans were, or the hope was to begin in this year yet. I think that is now being pushed to spring. So there's still a little bit of time to get bids, but also for us to take a look at the designs.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Tim? It's a quiet group today.
Monday, the Monday meeting.
Yep. It is Monday. So we're to the portion of our agenda for public comment. So I would open it up for public comment.
And I'm not seeing anyone from the public on our meeting, so.
Okay, thank you. So we'll close the public comment and then we'll just open it up for board member discussion. Does anyone have anything they'd like to discuss for the good of the group?
This is Deidre. I just have one quick thing to share. Monroe North is going to be back doing our picnic, our annual picnic in August, and I just would like to invite everyone to attend. We're hoping to have a nice sized group out there this year. We are actually still kind of looking for where the event's going to be held, but it will be held on August 18 from 12 to 1. Hoping for Landmark Lofts parking lot again, but it sounds like the property manager has changed hands, so we're working with them to see if that's an option this year.
That's great, Deidre, to get back to the picnic again.
Yeah.
It's always a good time. Anything else from the group? Well, then our meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for participating and for your willingness to serve on the TIFA. Everybody have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Sean. You too.
Yep.
Everyone.
See you later.
Thanks. Bye
Bye-bye.
now.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.